Hi guys, actually hello to Nayos and Rajiv. Welcome to the second episode and all of the viewers who actually saw our first episode. Hope you liked it and enjoyed our discussion, have some of your own points of views. Please share with us. We are available on most social channels for you to get in touch with us. So today we are actually diving into the second part of the book.
Hi everyone, and thanks, Anju. So we were just discussing that today we intend to talk about a couple of chapters in the book, which is so again we are talking about essentialism from Greg Mckeown. So the chapters that we are intending to cover is choice. We have the ability to choose. And then we have how. So it's a systematic discipline that these three chapters that we are going to cover. One is that the awareness and the ability to choose, how to discern it, how to discern the choices that we have in front of us, and then how to make a trade-off and then choose only one or two, whatever is the most important for us at that point of time. So I was just discussing with Nayas and Anju just before we started this conversation with you all, that whether one thing that I observed, that this book might have not considered the humanistic or the experiential aspects of life, where we may not have made the choice that we could have done 20 years back or 15 years back. Probably the awareness should be there, but whether everyone would be able to choose what they want. Say, for example, I realized that whatever I have done throughout my life doesn't make sense. Today morning, I woke up and I have that awareness. Okay, wonderful. Now what? I cannot just go back to school and leave my family and, because there has to be a living that I need to maintain. So Niles had something to say, and we started. Okay, let's start there. Niles, you go.
Yeah. So in that chapter, there's two main things that jump out for me. The choice, the ability to make a choice, and then a lot of times we lose sight that we have that ability to make a choice. We end up thinking that we just have to do things, like we have to do this, have to do that, but we don't take a step back and say we are making a choice to do these kind of things, right? Whatever that is. For example, now, however, with that said, choice is one thing. A second thing is options. What options do we have? One thing we have control over, the other one we don't really have control over at a single moment, right? I go to a restaurant. I have the menu, and these are my options. I get to choose what I want to eat, right? My options are limited. For example, like you just said, you made a bunch of choices throughout life, and here's where you are. Everything you did in the past led you to this point, talking to me at this moment. You say you can't just go back to school and abandon your family. Well, technically you can make that choice,
Technically,
right? But you're also choosing not to, because family is important to you, which means going back to school is less important to you. So the choice is there. It's not that you don't have a choice. You always have a choice. Go ahead.
I just wanted to jump in. There is this question who said that, what in your current moment of your life are you willing to completely give up or take away to go back to that 20 years ago?
Right.
And when we look at it that way, wherever we are now, we don't want to give up any of it. And that exact point that Nayos is saying, like all of those things, that fabric actually led us to this point.
Sure. Now, current circumstances is very important. Yeah, agree.
Okay, Nayos, continue. Yeah.
Oh no, that's all I wanted to say is that from that specific chapter, it's very nice to have a clear picture about choices. Like, yeah, you always have a choice, but you don't always have all the options that you desire, or all the options are not available for you to choose from. Like, options a little bit more out of your control, but choosing is absolutely 100% within your control.
Yeah. And in a coaching perspective, in a health coaching perspective, I just wanted to add that some of the clients feel that, I don't know, I cannot eat this way, or I cannot exercise, I don't have the time, or so how would you maybe you can share your perspective of how some of our clients struggle with this choice concept.
Yeah, totally. So that is where we come in the picture, right? And so frankly speaking, we need to be the way Greg Mckeown wrote the book, it may sound very straightforward and very simple. And I really, it is probably that, but it's a struggle from an experiential point of view, from where our client would come, or from what we are facing every day as a human being. These are difficult tasks. It is not absolutely something easy that we can do. And any discipline is hard, right? And when it comes to changing behavior, I don't know if there is anything harder than that, right? So we need to, as a coach, as a human being, we need to appreciate the difficult part of changing a behavior or choosing something and trading off something for something else is really difficult. There could be so many scenarios where why the client is stuck somewhere. It could be the circumstantial, it could be a controlling manager, say, for example, right? So the different scenario, different understanding, different persons, so their experience of that event. So it's a complex process that what we do as a coach, and we take every individual differently. There is no set plan for all the clients, right? So if some client is saying I'm stuck, and another client is coming and saying he's stuck or she's stuck, these two can be whole different two worlds, right? So to handle. That's where our complexity and our responsibility grows way too big, I suppose. Yeah.
And also he talks about this very interesting thing about learned helplessness. Like we learn this behavior over time, and there is this scientific experiment where he shares about that giving electric shocks to a dog, right? And that the dog learned that they are not going to anyway escape, so might as well take it. So we actually, over a period of time of not making deliberate choices and living a life by default, we have sort of learned not to choose. So we forget that we have that choice. And even when the options that we're talking about, Nayos was saying that maybe even very limited, maybe there's only one option available to you, whether you want to take it or not is still a choice. Or if, let's say, somebody is shouting at you, whether you're going to react or you're going to respond is a choice. So there is a choice, and it's just that, creating that awareness to exercise it, in every situation. So that is the first part that he's covering on what is that core mindset of an essentialist, is to know that you do have a choice. And the next one is about this idea of noise, right? And discerning what's important. So would you like to go? Either of you?
Yeah, maybe nice, or I can. I just want to connect to that particular point. One in 15 seconds is
sure.
That learned helplessness. People are working very hard when they are helpless. It is not that they are helpless and they are not doing anything, right? So that's an aspect I really appreciate. They are killing themselves. And I am killing myself because I consider my scenarios, my real life experiences that I am having and having all my life. Sometimes we are actually working too hard, but still we are helpless. It is not that we don't know what to do. We are actually doing everything probably. And so that's just what I wanted to add, that it's a hard work. The concept of working hard and you will be fine, right? So that is what we have been given and taught and, reminded again and again, that work hard, yes. Which is, I respect that definitely. But then what we are working on and how that is relevant for us, that is probably that is what the book is mostly talking. Yeah, coming to dissent.
Or if, because that point is very interesting as well. Like learned helplessness doesn't mean that you are lazy and you don't know anything to do, so you're like stunned and
No, not that.
thrown your hands
Exactly.
up, but rather you're thinking that, okay, I don't know what to do, so I try A also, B also, X also, Z also, and then you are, you're stressing yourself harder and harder, and then you don't get anywhere with that. That's also, so even in case of health coaching is super relevant, right? People try so many different diets, so many different exercises. They listen to all the whatever people telling what to do, all the experts, and they still feel like they're still in that rat on that treadmill, or hamster on a wheel. Yeah.
Totally.
So yeah, so going to that noise part, maybe Nayos, would you like to start? What do you think about that?
Yeah, sure. I think I feel that the reason there's so much noise is because me included, I don't really spend a whole lot of time thinking what is essentially important to me, right? I think I can relate to what Rajiv was saying, that a lot of times we're just reacting to what life throws at us.
Mhm.
Right? It's just this happened. Oh shoot, I gotta do this to fix that. I gotta do that to fix this. But we're not being mindful that we are choosing to fix this issue. We're choosing to do this in order to get this or whatever, right? We're not being as mindful as we can be. So for Anju's example, right? Like, hey, I don't have time to exercise. I'm just so busy. I mean, that doesn't sound very clear, right? It's not a very clear view. I'm just so busy. It just sounds very like overarching feeling. But how are you spending your time?
Mhm.
Right? How are you spending? How are you choosing? See, that's even a better question. How are you choosing to spend your 24 hours? Right? How are you choosing to do that? Right? Because once you start being more mindful of how you're choosing to spend your time, every single hour, every single minute, you can it can seem like you have more than you actually have, right? If you're being more mindful of it.
Yeah.
You're not just wasting away on guilty as charged,
Mhm.
scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. You watch, you watch one feed. I'm just gonna get on there for 2 minutes. Before you know it, half an hour goes by. It's like gone, poof. It's because I was not mindful of my intention getting on Instagram, right? And then if you're not mindful of that, it's very easy for you to just get away with even this bunch of noise, right?
And we think that the intention with which we go into some of the social media is to see that whether have people commented on our post, or or what kind of fraction have we received, or has my friend messaged me. So we go with that intention, but then there are other hijacks, right? So then the mindful piece is super important, to say that, okay, my signal, I was looking for that signal, it's not there. Let's not get to the noise portion, let's get out of it. So same thing. So I really loved one of your posts where you said it is not so many different things that you do on a daily basis, but there are these essential 9 or 10 things that you have built into your life, the so-called important things that made you a healthier person. So what are those, some of those for you? So it doesn't take 100 different things, like, okay, you have to drink lemon juice with whatever, apple cider, this one, 2 hours later. It's not like that. You can simplify, and there are these super core important things that you can do that will get you to a healthier place, if that is what you want. Or even in your career, like, be super focused, right? So, and when you have so much noise, how are you going to say no to them? You will know when to say no only when I'm saying so many no's, only when you really know what you want. Otherwise, you're going to just accept it because you don't know, maybe this will work out, maybe that will work out, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I just saw that, Warren Buffett, Buffett or Buffett, I don't know what his name is still. So how do you pronounce his name, Nayos? Do you
Buffett,
know?
still
Warren
Buffett.
Buffett. Okay. So his
we better ask him.
90% of his the investment is comes from 10 companies.
Yeah.
And his investment strategy borders on lethargy, because there's so much, as you said, the research and the thinking goes behind, and you're only acting for the very few critical ones and making a deliberate choice. So that's choice and noise. So can we get into a bit of trade-off now? Would that be a good time to transition? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I actually have a question about that chapter.
sure.
I personally don't understand when it talks about trade-off, right?
Mhm.
And it's essentially, I mean, it says, which problem do I want?
Mm.
That part I don't understand, because instinctively, I don't want any problems, right? What do you mean, which problems do I don't want problems, right? Like that part I'm not sure if I understand.
So I think
Maybe one of you can try to
Maybe
clarify
we
that.
both can share how we interpreted it. So it's a
should I go first?
Sure, Rajiv, yeah, go ahead.
So it's a reverse psychology, I should say. We, as you said, now we don't want any problems, right? So what the discern and the trade-off chapters both are talking about is everything is noise. So they are classifying. We need to look at it. Or people who are essentialists, they consider everything is noise. It's not like everything is an option. So they consider, they exclude everything first, that everything is noise. Now, if I want to pick up a noise, if you term them as a noise rather than option, right? So we can term them as everything is options for us. We can pick and choose, or we can term them everything is noise, and then we can pick a problem. So you see, it's a way that the author is playing with us with I mean, it's probably a different way to interpret that. If you consider everything noise, then and we want to pick one noise for us to solve, then that's a problem we are solving. So probably that is how he was trying to explain. And Anju, go ahead.
I was thinking a bit differently.
Yeah.
So
sure.
there were a few things, right? Like he was mentioning about the choice of between children or work or health or whatever, right? So let's say when you make a choice in the moment to work on something, that means you are saying no to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say no, that will eventually become a problem, right? Like if you constantly say that, no, my health is very important. So right after my work, I'm going to spend a couple of hours on exercise and I'm going to ignore my children. For example, I'm just saying that. So then I've deliberately made work and my exercise as a priority, but my children have gone to the back burner. So later that will become a problem. So is that a problem I'm willing to take it up? So I say, yes, it's okay. Or, so there is that trade-off. That's how I interpreted it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah.
So let's just go back to that. Maybe we can get some insights in that.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. But I
was also a bit. I was caught by that. Yeah.
It still doesn't make sense to me, because just because you're dealing with one thing, it doesn't make the rest problems, right? Because problem to me, maybe just me, it has a very negative connotation to it. Like it's just something that's very negative. It's a problem. Like, is it a problem if I don't go work out today? Is that really a problem?
Yeah,
because I want to spend time with my kids today. Is that a problem?
So, but then you would know that this is a aware and a conscious choice you're making at this moment. Like, let's say our child is sick and I have to sacrifice my exercise to take him to the hospital.
Yeah,
I know that today I made that choice, and it's okay. I missed my workout, but I'm not going to just push it under the carpet for the rest of my life and not do exercise. I'm going to get back to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that is not a problem. Like, but if let's say you're consistently avoiding something, there's no problem in your.
Yeah, I feel like there's no problem per se, right? There's no problem. I feel like there's no problem.
Yeah, probably.
That's why I'm not really. I don't really. I don't know. I don't really connect with how the author is writing about which problem do you want. I don't want any problems, and none of it has to be problems, right? I'm trying to do it all, but the less important things and non-essential things, do they become problems? Maybe not. Because if they're non-essential to me, they're not problems. They're just
you chose not to choose them.
Yeah, it just is, right? It's not a problem that I feel like it's a negative connotation. A problem actually has a negative effect on a person. And that's a problem.
Yeah,
And-
no,
and-
sure,
right?
sure. Yeah. Yeah,
so that's
agreed.
why I didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And
But
Agreed.
good noticing on that part, because but I think maybe not that one paragraph, maybe we all, I don't know, maybe we could just write to Greg and ask him what he meant by that, if he could
Yeah.
respond. But as such, the idea is that trade-offs are essential, like you cannot
Yeah.
escape them.
Sure. And I really like the example that he gave about Southwest Airline, right? Like off the gate, they know what the essence of the company is, right? And all the business decisions were based off that, which is a low cost budget airline. All right. And let me see the part that so instead of jacking up prices to cover costs of meals, they decided to serve none. Instead of assigning seats in advance, they would let people choose to get their own on the plane. Instead of upselling passengers first class surface, they offer only coach. Instead. I think that is
Deliberate
very
choice, right?
deliberate choices, and they know why they're making those choices.
And then the contrast is when another company tried to do the straddling strategy of Continental Light or something like that.
Continental, is it Continental? Yeah, I think it was Continental Light. Yeah, exactly. They try to piggyback off their existing business model, and that didn't work out too well. So it makes sense.
Yeah, and this also ties in with Simon Sinek's book, because he also talks about Southwest in his book, The Power of Why. Yeah, so that is like, because their why, their purpose is so clear, then that's what helped them make those what choices. So
Absolutely.
That's very important for us and our clients as well, for us to help them to see, why you want to be healthier, or what is
that.
So
that is so big, right? That is with I don't want to say all, but most of the clients that come to us, it's a question they've heard before, but they never really spent a lot of time thinking about, right? They might think of a surface why, but we help them get to the true desire, the true why.
And I really like your what is important iterative loop. Like, what's important about that? What's important about that? And then you really get to the essence of what's really important to you, right? Why?
You just gotta pay very close attention to your toddlers at home. They're the best. Because they will ask you why after why after why after why.
Super true,
at the end of the day, that's how you truly learn, right? When you know the why behind the why behind the why behind the why, right? I want to lose 15 pounds. What makes that important? It make me look good. Why is that important? For maybe for a bachelor that's not dating anyone, so I can date. What makes that important? So maybe they want to get married, maybe they don't have children. Like, it really digs down to deep inside their values, like what they truly value in their life. And this is just symptoms, like, it's not the core reasoning. So get to that why is really what's going to drive it.
But like just another coachy thing is that we don't ask you why, because it'll sound very combative, right? Like we want to like challenge you, but the
interrogation.
But we've been trained to ask the same kind of thing, but in a very constructive and you feel safe and non-judgmental environment. Okay, so
it's not why as a challenge. It's more of, we as coaches, we are curious what truly drives you, and we're curious if you knew what drives you. So that's more coming from a position of curiosity than a challenge, like Anju said.
So that brings us to the end of the essence or the core mindset of the essentialist. So next week we will go to the next part of the book, and we just go through the book. And I think maybe in a few sessions we would have covered the book, and you would have, I think, gained a lot of insights from it as well. We hope you joining us would also enjoy our takeaways. And if interested, please do pick up the book. So with that, happy weekend. Anything else? Any parting remarks from the two of you?
Yeah, I actually wanted to say a couple of things we'll cover in the next forum also. So the most important key takeaway from these 3 chapters that I was reading is probably the taking pause when you have options or choices in front of you. Because if you don't take pause, the awareness of your ability or our ability that we actually have a say here, which one will do or which one will not do or which one will think, that will come. So if that's probably for us coaches and for all our listeners who are listening and following us is very important. So taking a pause, and then once we do that, and I struggle with that myself. I had the understanding that I'm super smart and I can do multitasking and all those. So all those are myths. There is no such scientific proof that human being can do multitask, right? Those are all just myths, and these are just fed to us. The point is, taking a pause is very important. I'm trying to do that myself, trying to practice, and it goes back to our training on meditation as a coach, mindfulness and everything. The once we do that, then only it becomes clear to us that what is absolutely necessary for us. And then we can think of our time that we have in our hand, whether the control of our life, are we losing our control while we try to attempt everything? And there is a concept in the book, fear of missing out. We heard about that many places, right? So that was discussed during I think from technology point of view, that we automatically check our messages and notification and everything. But every time, whatever you want to do, take a pause, that exactly what is there in you, whether you will want to spend time, or we want to spend time, or we want to take something else up, which is more important. So pausing is very important. Yeah.
Awesome. Mayus, anything would you like to?
No, I think that's a wrap for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, both of you. And thank you to the listeners for tuning in. Signing off.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah.